The Baltimore Ravens walked away with a massive divisional win. And even though the scoreboard tells part of the story, the real layers of this moment start to show when you listen closely to what is being said inside the locker room. One of the most fascinating voices to emerge after this game was Adri Hopkins, who did not dodge questions, did not sugarcoat his situation, and did not pretend his season has gone exactly the way many expected when he arrived in Baltimore. Instead, he spoke with clarity, perspective, and an honesty that says a lot about both where he is in his career and what this Ravens team represents right now. There has been plenty of discussion throughout the season about Hopkins' role in this offense. When he signed, many believed his presence would immediately reshape the passing game, especially with a quarterback like Lamar Jackson and an offense that prides itself on versatility and explosiveness. The reality has been different. Hopkins has not been a volume target, and his weekly stat lines have not reflected the type of production that defined the peak of his career. Yet, in moments that matter, he has still found ways to leave his fingerprint on games, including a crucial catch against Cincinnati that shifted momentum when Baltimore needed it most. What makes Hopkins' comments resonate is the context behind his decision to come to Baltimore in the first place. He openly acknowledged that this partnership with Lamar Jackson had been something both players hoped for years ago. There were moments in the past when it looked like it might happen, moments where conversations existed and expectations were built, only for circumstances to push things in another direction. When the opportunity finally arrived, it was not just about football fit or financial terms. It was about timing, trust, and the belief that this roster was close to something meaningful. Hopkins made it clear that he had options. Other teams were willing to offer more money, and from a purely business standpoint, choosing Baltimore was not the most lucrative path. But at this stage of his career, he placed greater value on competing alongside players he respects and trusts, especially a quarterback he considers a genuine friend. Playing with Lamar Jackson was not a marketing line or a scripted response. It was a deliberate choice rooted in shared competitiveness and mutual admiration. That mindset becomes even more powerful when you hear how Hopkins talks about the younger players around him. Instead of expressing frustration about his own numbers, he highlighted the growth of others, particularly the development of Zay Flowers. There is a quiet confidence in the way Hopkins embraces a mentoring role, finding satisfaction not just in his own contributions, but in watching a younger receiver elevate his game. For a veteran who has spent years being the focal point of defenses, that shift in perspective says everything about his priorities. There is also an underlying understanding from Hopkins that this offense simply has many mouths to feed. Baltimore is built around balance, unpredictability, and adaptability. Some weeks, the passing game flows through speed and separation. Other weeks, it leans on physicality, misdirection, or quarterback improvisation. In that environment, no single receiver is guaranteed consistent volume, especially when the goal is to win games rather than chase individual accolades. Hopkins did not shy away from acknowledging his own competitive nature. He still believes, without hesitation, that he is one of the best players on the field. Whenever he steps between the lines, that confidence has not faded, even if the stat sheet does not always reflect it. At the same time, he recognizes that meaningful football in December and January carries more weight than personal milestones. For him, being in the thick of a playoff race, fighting for position in one of the toughest divisions in the league, matters more than padding numbers and losing efforts elsewhere. This honesty also reframes how fans should interpret his season. Hopkins is not disengaged. He is not frustrated behind the scenes. He understands his role, accepts it, and continues to prepare, as if his moment could come at any time. And when those moments do arrive, his experience and composure become invaluable, especially in tight divisional games where a single play can tilt the outcome. There is an obvious parallel here to previous veteran additions Baltimore has made in recent seasons. The impact is not always measured in total receptions or yardage, but in timing, reliability, and influence within the locker room. Hopkins fits that mold perfectly. His presence adds credibility to the offense, stability to the receiver room, and another layer of trust for Lamar Jackson when defenses tighten up and windows shrink. As the Ravens push deeper into the season, every decision, every snap, and every injury carries more weight. Hopkins understands that reality better than most. He knows the margins are thin, the expectations are high, and the path through the conference is unforgiving. That awareness is exactly why his words matter, because they reflect a player who sees the bigger picture. while still burning with competitive fire, ready to step up whenever his number is called, while Adri Hopkins' perspective gives insight into the emotional and competitive pulse of this roster. The physical reality of the season continues to test Baltimore in ways that cannot be ignored. As the calendar moves deeper into December, the Ravens are dealing with the kind of attrition that defines contenders and exposes depth all at once. Following the win over Cincinnati, the tone around the team shifted when news emerged that one of their young defensive contributors suffered a season-ending knee injury. It was the type of update everyone feared, yet one that has become an unfortunate part of football at this stage of the year. The loss stings, not only because of the injury itself, but because of how much progress the player had shown over the course of the season. The Ravens have relied heavily on young talent stepping into meaningful roles, particularly on defense. And this was another example of someone earning trust through preparation, effort, and consistency. His growth on special teams and in rotational defensive packages had been noticeable. And that kind of momentum is difficult to replace when the stakes are rising each week. Still, Baltimore does not have the luxury of dwelling on what was lost. The response has already shifted toward what comes next, and that next man-up mentality has defined this organization for years. The coaching staff has expressed confidence in the players now tasked with absorbing additional responsibility, especially those who have quietly prepared for moments like this without much spotlight. There is belief that the system, combined with the versatility of the defense, can absorb the blow and continue functioning at a high level. The injury conversation does not stop there. Several other key contributors left the Cincinnati game banged up, and while none appear to be season-ending, their availability moving forward will be monitored closely. This is where the chess match of late-season football truly begins. Practice reps become more calculated, workloads are adjusted, and every decision balances urgency with preservation. The Ravens know that simply reaching the postseason is not enough. Being healthy enough to survive it is the real challenge. That reality makes the win over Cincinnati even more significant. This was not just another victory in the standings, it was a divisional result that keeps Baltimore firmly in the hunt as the AFC North Titans. Every matchup inside the division feels like a playoff game, and this one demanded resilience, patience, and situational execution. The Ravens did not play a perfect game, but they made the plays that mattered most when pressure peaked. There were moments when the offense had to grind rather than explode, moments where sustaining drives mattered more than chasing highlights. That kind of football often goes unnoticed, but it is exactly what separates teams that survive December from those that fade. Baltimore leaned on experience, trusted its quarterback, and avoided the type of mistakes that swing momentum in divisional games. Keeping pace within the division remains a central focus, with the margin for error shrinking. Baltimore understands that every week carries postseason implications. There is no room for complacency, especially with other rivals refusing to slow down. The Ravens are not chasing style points. They are chasing positioning, survival, and the opportunity to play meaningful football when January arrives. This is also where leadership becomes critical. Veterans like Hopkins provide calm when narratives outside the building start to shift. Coaches emphasize preparation over panic. Players lean into routines that have carried them through long seasons before. The external noise grows louder, but internally, the message stays consistent. Win the next game, manage the details, and stay connected as a unit. The physical toll of the season inevitably forces teams to show their true identity. Baltimore's identity is rooted in adaptability, whether it is adjusting roles on defense, redistributing opportunities on offense, or leaning into situational football. This team has shown it can evolve without losing its core principles. That adaptability will be tested even more in the weeks ahead as injuries, fatigue, and pressure converge. What remains clear is that this Ravens team still believes it can compete with anyone. When it plays its brand of football, the confidence is not loud or reckless. It is grounded in preparation, chemistry, and an understanding of what wins games in this league late in the season. The road ahead will not be forgiving, and there are no guarantees. But Baltimore has positioned itself to stay in the conversation, even as circumstances try to pull it off course. As the season progresses, the Ravens' focus shifts to both the immediate challenges and the broader picture of sustaining competitiveness through the final stretch. Every matchup now carries a dual weight: the immediate need for a win to maintain playoff positioning, and the longer-term goal of proving that this team can withstand adversity. Whether it comes in the form of injuries, unexpected performance issues, or the relentless pressure of the division, Baltimore's recent victory over Cincinnati was a statement in more ways than one. It showed that the offense, despite its fluctuating output, can execute under pressure, and that the defense, even with key contributors missing, can hold firm when it matters most. The game highlighted the importance of depth, preparation, and the mental toughness required to survive December football in the AFC North. Adri Hopkins' role continues to serve as a lens through which much of the team's mindset can be understood. Even without gaudy statistics, his presence on the field shifts defensive attention and opens opportunities for his teammates. More than that, his leadership, both through example and mentorship, has become increasingly significant. Young receivers like Zay Flowers benefit not only from the opportunities Hopkins creates on the field but from his guidance off it. Watching a veteran operate with patience, professionalism, and a willingness to contribute in different ways teaches lessons that numbers alone cannot capture. This culture of mentorship is one of the subtle yet critical advantages Baltimore maintains over its division rivals, especially in a league where developing homegrown talent is key to sustaining success. The Ravens' coaching staff has also had to navigate the challenge of balancing the veteran presence with the development of younger players. John Harbaugh's handling of the team's personnel in recent weeks demonstrates an approach rooted in both pragmatism and foresight, adjustments in playing time, strategic rotations on defense, and calculated offensive schemes reflect a team attempting to maximize current performance while laying the foundation for future growth. In football, those decisions are rarely straightforward. They require assessing not only skill and readiness but also confidence, chemistry, and the psychological impact of each move. Baltimore has shown a capacity to manage these factors effectively, and that adaptability could prove decisive as they approach the postseason. Injuries remain an ever-present concern, with recent news about key defensive contributors underscoring the fragility of any team's mid-December roster. Baltimore has seen players step up in ways that reflect the depth and resilience built into this team, but the stakes remain high. The recovery of certain players, their reintegration into schemes, and the redistribution of roles will define how effectively the Ravens can navigate the final weeks. Each practice, each rep, and each coaching decision carries elevated importance, and the team's leadership must maintain focus amidst the inevitable distractions and pressures that come with a playoff chase. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens, and hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. In what has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, Baltimore Ravens head coach John Harbaugh reportedly made a statement that has left fans and analysts buzzing. He's never playing for the Ravens again, while the identity of the player in question has not been officially confirmed. Sources close to the team suggest tensions behind the scenes have reached a breaking point. Speculation is running rampant across sports media platforms, with insiders hinting at a combination of on-field disagreements and off-field controversies that may have prompted Harbaugh's harsh declaration. The Ravens, known for their disciplined locker room culture, rarely see such public confrontations from their head coach, making this comment all the more alarming. Some speculate that this could signal the end of a high-profile career in Baltimore, potentially reshaping the team's roster and strategy moving forward. Analysts are already debating how this move might affect the Ravens' plans, especially considering the player's previous contributions and influence within the squad. While the organization has remained tight-lipped, the ripple effects are being felt in real time. Fans have taken to social media to express shock, disappointment, and even confusion, with some questioning whether the decision is final or part of a larger negotiation tactic. The uncertainty has created a frenzy of rumors, with rival teams reportedly circling, sensing an opportunity to acquire a player of considerable talent. If the situation deteriorates further, NFL insiders suggest this could mark the beginning of a dramatic offseason, one that might see the Ravens making unexpected trades or signing moves to compensate for the potential loss. Harbaugh's unusually blunt statement has sparked debates about team management, player-coach dynamics, and the future trajectory of Baltimore's roster. For now, the sports world waits, speculating on whether this is the end of an era for a prominent Ravens player, or merely a dramatic power play. In one of the league's most scrutinized franchises, the coming weeks promise to be intense, as both fans and analysts keep a close eye on any developments. trades, or official statements. In a league where headlines can shift the balance of power overnight, Harbaugh's declaration has certainly ensured that all eyes remain on Baltimore, and the mystery surrounding this player's future has become the talk of the NFL. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.